How to loosen tight shoulders with yoga. Particularly if you work in an office environment and have poor posture, tight shoulders may be a problem for you. Because your entire body is connected, tight shoulders may lead to a stiff neck as well as back problems. However, you can loosen tight shoulders with yoga. Many yoga poses work to release the tension in your neck and shoulders, as well as increasing your range of motion. You can use poses that strengthen your torso as well to provide stability for your shoulders and improve your posture. Method 1: Releasing shoulder and neck tension. 1. Stretch your chest, neck, and shoulders in bow pose. This pose will help you open up your chest, neck, and shoulders to release tension. It also stretches your arms, legs, and torso for the ultimate full body stretching experience. Start lying flat on your stomach on your yoga mat. Look ahead so that your chin is on the mat. Your arms should be down at your sides. Take a moment to get in touch with your breath. Bend your knees as you exhale, trying to bring your heels as close as possible to your buttocks. Your knees should be about hip distance apart. Reach back and grab your ankles. As you inhale, lift your heels up, drawing your thighs and upper torso away from the mat. You are now in bow pose. Hold the pose for 30 seconds, breathing slowly and softly. You won't be able to breathe as deeply because of the pressure on your torso, but avoid the inclination to hold your breath. As you breathe, focus on drawing your shoulders down into your back, firming up your back. Think of drawing your tailbone towards the floor while lifting your heels and thighs higher. 2. Open your joints in eagle pose. Eagle pose stretches your shoulders and back, as well as helping build strength in your chest, back, and shoulders. By opening the joints, you can release tension as well as improve mobility in your shoulders. Start eagle pose from a standing position. This is a balancing pose, so it might be challenging for beginners. Bend your knees slightly and lift your right foot so you are balancing on your left foot. Take a moment to ground yourself and find your balance, then cross your right thigh over your left, as though you are sitting cross-legged in an invisible chair. Reach in front of you and cross your right arm over your left arm, then bend your elbows so your forearms are in front of your face. Bring your left hand around the inside of your right wrist so you can press your palms together. As you squeeze your arms together, focus on dropping your shoulders down your back. Stay into the pose for between 15 and 30 seconds, breathing deeply. With every breath, try to sink a little deeper into the pose, bending your knees a little more. If balancing poses aren't your strength, you can add eagle arms to another pose in which your body is more supported to get the same benefits for your shoulders without having to balance. 3. Relax in child's pose. Child's pose is a gentle pose that will help release the tension in your shoulders, neck, and back. This is a rest pose often used during yoga practice when you need to take a break and reconnect with your breath. Start by kneeling on a yoga mat or some other soft surface, such as a rug or blanket. Your knees should be spread wide, with your big toes touching beneath you. You can roll a blanket or towel under or behind your knees to relieve pressure if they bother you in this position. The point of this pose is to be comfortable. Press your hips down toward your heels and fold over from the hips, resting your torso over or between your thighs. Rest your forehead on the mat, holding your arms at your sides with your palms facing up. You can also go into extended child's pose by reaching your arms straight and forward past your head. Take care if you do this not to crunch your shoulders. You should stay in this pose for 5 to 10 deep breaths, but the pose is gentle enough that you can stay here as long as you like, focusing on your breath. 4. Modify Warrior 2 to loosen your shoulders. Warrior 2 stretches and strengthens your legs, ankles, chest, and shoulders. A simple arm modification can further deepen the stretch in your shoulders to help loosen them if they're tight. Start in a standing position, then on an exhale step or jump your feet until they're about 4 feet apart. Your right foot should be pointed to the right, your left foot forward, so that your right heel bisects the arch of your left foot. Bend your right knee so that it is at a 90-degree angle, shin perpendicular to the floor and thigh parallel. Make sure your knee is directly above your ankle, not pressing forward over your toes. Extend your arms out to either side at shoulder height so that they are parallel to the floor with your palms down. This is Warrior 2. Now lift your right arm up along your ear and bend your elbow, dropping your hand behind your back. Reach up and grab your right elbow with your left hand, pulling your elbow straight. Stay in this position for 3 to 5 deep breaths, then switch and do the other side. Method 2: Increasing your range of motion. 1. Strengthen your shoulder girdle with extended side angle pose. To loosen tight shoulders, you need to stretch and strengthen the muscles that support them. This pose stretches and strengthens the muscles in your upper back, neck, and chest to improve the range of motion you have in your shoulders. To start this pose, stand sideways on your mat with your feet about 4 feet apart. Your right foot should be turned out 90 degrees to the right with your left foot pointed forward, as though your left heel is bisecting your right foot. Raise your arms to shoulder height, parallel with the floor. Your palms should be facing the floor. You can take a moment here to connect to your breath. On an inhale, turn your head to look out over your right fingertips. As you exhale, bend your right knee so that your shin is perpendicular to the floor and your thigh is parallel to the floor. Lean forward over your right knee, resting your right elbow on your right knee and extending your left arm overhead. Be careful to simply rest your arm on your knee, don't lean on your leg or use it to brace yourself. Firm up your legs and press the outer edges of your feet into the floor to find your balance. Hold the pose for at least 5 breaths, stretching and lengthening your sides. Stack your hips and engage your core, keeping your hips open. 2. Stretch and strengthen your shoulders with an upward plank pose. You're probably familiar with planks, but an upward plank will stretch your chest, neck, and shoulders while also strengthening the muscles that support your shoulders, helping to loosen them. To get into an upward plank, sit on your mat with your legs out in front of you and your feet together. Extend your arms out behind your hips and place your palms on the floor with your fingers facing towards your body. Inhale and press into your hands and feet to lift your body up. Press your inner thighs together and press down into the floor through your big toes. Engage your abs, but keep your glutes relaxed. Lift with your chest and hips, pulling away from your wrists. Drop your head down and lengthen your neck. Stay in this pose for 5 breaths, then slowly lower back to the ground. 3. Open your shoulder rotators in cow face pose. This pose will stretch and strengthen your shoulder rotators to loosen tight shoulders and help increase your range of motion. You also can do this pose while seated at your desk. Start in a lotus position with each heel crossed to the outside of the opposite hip and your knees stacked, or in cross-legged position if you aren't flexible enough to sit in lotus comfortably. Inhale and reach upward with your right arm. As you exhale, bend your elbow to drop your hand and forearm down your back. On an inhale, reach your left arm behind and up to grab your right fingers and interlock your hands. If you can't reach, you can use a towel or a strap. Lengthen your torso, drawing your shoulders down your back and away from your ears. Stay in the pose for 5 breaths, then switch and do the other side. You can modify other poses by doing cow face arms. 4. Extend your arm in sphinx pose. The sphinx pose will strengthen your spine, as well as stretching your chest, shoulders, and abdomen. Extending your arms adds additional stretching for your shoulders that can help increase mobility. Start by lying on your stomach on the floor with your legs together. If you roll your outer thighs toward the floor to rotate your thighs inward, it will help protect your lower back during the back bend. Place your elbows under your shoulders, planting your forearms on the floor with your palms facing down. On an inhale, lift your upper torso and head away from the floor, bending your back. Keep your elbows squeezed tight to your body and take a moment to connect with your breath. Raise your right hand off the ground in line with your ear and straighten it out in front of you. Keep your shoulders down your back and your gaze low so you don't crunch your neck. Hold your arm extended for about 5 seconds, then release and raise your left arm. Method 3: Strengthening your torso. 1. Practice planks. Planks are a basic exercise that are not unique to yoga. This pose will help strengthen your core, which is a key factor in improving your posture. Better posture can help prevent tight shoulders. Get on your hands and knees, making sure your hands are directly under your shoulders with your fingers spread wide. Get on your toes and walk or hop your legs backward until they are straight. Focus on being one long line of energy from your heels to the crown of your head. Engage your core and breathe as deeply as you can, pressing through your heels and lifting your torso upward. Lengthen your neck and drop your shoulders down your back. Make sure they're not hunched around your ears, and that your neck isn't crunched. Stay for 5 breaths, then release. You can do several planks, or you can try to hold each of your planks for a longer period of time. 2. Move into the dolphin pose. Dolphin pose will open and strengthen your shoulders and the rest of your upper body, as well as lengthening your hamstrings. You can create a flow by moving between dolphin pose and a forearm plank, with a breath for each movement. From plank position, lower your upper body to rest on your forearms rather than your hands. On an exhale, walk your feet toward your elbows, lifting your hips high. You should end up in an upside-down V. Make sure your forearms are parallel and grounded, and press them firmly into the mat. You may have to engage your outer arms to keep your elbows from splaying as you walk forward. Don't let your shoulders hunch up toward your ears, keep them down your back, pressing towards your hips. This will also keep you from rounding your back. You can hold this pose for about 5 breaths, or you can move immediately back to a forearm plank and keep the flow moving back and forth between forearm plank and dolphin for 5 to 10 repetitions. 3. Create space in your spine with the rabbit pose. This pose helps strengthen your abdominal muscles as well as stimulating your whole spine to create proper alignment and improve your posture over time. Sit on your heels on your mat and take a moment to connect with your breath. On an exhale, reach back and grab your heels, then round your back down and forward to curl your torso over. Make sure the movement is coming from your core. Ultimately, you want to place the crown of your head on the floor so that your forehead touches your knees. Don't worry if you can't go this deeply at first, especially if you are new to yoga. Just round as far as you comfortably can. Lift your hips and roll your body weight forward until you feel your elbows lock. Hold the pose for at least 5 breaths, then roll back up slowly on an inhale, going 1 vertebrae at a time until you're back in a seated position. With every inhale, pull on your heels. With every exhale, try to go a little deeper into the bend. 4. Open your chest with fish pose. Fish pose will help open the front of your torso with a full body stretch that strengthens your back and improves your posture. Lie on your back with your legs extended, arms flat on either side of your body with your palms on the floor. Press your forearms and elbows into the floor as you lift your chest, creating an arch in your back. Lift your shoulder blades and chest, tilting your head back so that the crown of your head is touching the floor. Continue pressing through your hands and forearms. Press outward through your heels, keeping your thighs active. Hold the pose for 5 breaths, then press through your forearms to lift your head. Exhale and lower your head and torso to the floor. If you're a beginner, you may want to place a yoga block along your upper spine to support your back, or one under your head, or both. You also can use a rolled towel or blanket to support your neck. 5. Loosen your spine with revolved side angle pose. If your shoulders are tight, it's probable that the muscles around your spine are tight as well. Twisting poses such as revolved side angle pose help loosen those muscles to improve your posture. From a standing position, drop your left leg backward and bend your right knee so your right thigh is parallel to the floor. As you lunge, make sure you're not lunging too far forward. Your knee should be directly over your ankle, so your shin is parallel to the floor. Take a moment to connect with your breath and find your balance if you're a bit wobbly. On an exhale, twist your torso over your right leg, bringing your left elbow to rest on the outside of your right thigh. Breathe. Hold this pose for 5 to 10 breaths, focusing on drawing your abdomen away from your leg and deepening the twist with each exhale. Warnings. If your shoulders are tight as a result of a shoulder, neck, or back injury, do not do any of these yoga poses without first consulting your doctor. These poses could result in further injury if you've experienced neck, back, or shoulder strain.